generally speaking, having a car like an 03 or 04 Cobra, which was only made 2 years, is a cool thing. It puts you like in that exclusive group of only a certain amount of people are going to have this car, and especially at the age of these cars where they're at now, with less of them being around, that group gets even smaller every year. But being in that group for a car which was only produced for 2 years definitely has the downsides to it. And the way I titled the video, as far as the Cobra being its own worst enemy, it really is, because if you take a vehicle or a car such as a Honda Civic, a Ford F-150, something like that, that is mass produced, tons and tons of them are made throughout multiple years, lots and lots of parts available for cars like that and vehicles like that. But when it comes to something like the 03, 04 Terminator, it gets very difficult when you're looking for specific parts that you may need to replace, or if you're trying to bring one back that was wrecked. Those parts that were part of that 2-year run are less and less every year. The Cobra specific parts are getting even more rare than the cars themselves, because say you take a Cobra that was in an accident and it's fixable, it's not a complete loss, and you can bring that car back, it can stay on the road, it can still live its life, it's not completely lost. But say you have another Cobra that was in an accident and the front end was smashed and this had a side impact and it had a lot of damage. The car is still salvageable, for argument's sake. So that car can be brought back and rebuilt and it's on the road again in X amount of time. So that car was saved. That's still one Cobra on the road that wouldn't have been before. But the downfall to that is, due to that accident, you lost the front bumper and you lost side skirts. Those are parts that can be remade, at least Ford OEM. If you're talking about specifically Ford OEM parts, which I am, when you start losing that stuff, the front and rear bumper, side skirts, any of the interior parts that are Cobra specific, like on the airbag where it says Cobra on it, that stuff you can't get back and you can't rebuild it. I mean, once a car is in a front end collision and the bumper is completely smashed, there's not much hope for it at that point, and that bumper is gone forever, and that's one less Cobra specific part. So when it comes to people that, and I'm not just talking about body parts, there's all kinds of stuff that go with the engine and stuff like that over years these parts are just harder and harder to find. I think we're at a point now, like I was looking up side skirts a while ago. It's $700 for a set of used side skirts in good condition for an 03, 04 Cobra. And I think as time goes on, I think some of these specific parts are going to keep going up more and more in price. So when you have someone that has a Cobra, like years down the road from now, where they're either trying to rebuild one or something happens to the one that they have and they're looking to try to replace some of those parts, it's not as easy as going to Napa and ordering a part for a Honda Civic or a Ford F-150. It's just not something that's kept in stock anywhere anymore, either at a parts store or a Ford dealership. And the people that do have these parts, I think a lot of people are probably holding on to a lot of parts because of their value. And I don't blame them for doing so, because anything that I take off this car mod-wise that's Cobra specific, I don't sell it, I keep it. It doesn't matter if it's in excellent condition or if it's a little rough around the edges. I keep it anyway, because I know that the Cobra specific parts are more valuable over time, and I would rather keep it than sell it for monetary gain. So it all really depends on what happens to the car for what parts can come off. If you have something that was in a fire and the engine bay and the interior was completely trashed, the outside body panels are still good, hopefully. But if you have one that was in an accident, most likely you're going to lose some of those outside body panels that are Cobra specific. Another item that I see go up for sale quite often that's going up in price is the Cobra specific seats, especially the 10th anniversary ones. You're looking at anywhere from $800 to over $1,000 for a nice set of seats that are still in really good condition. And I think something like that, as time goes along, and less become available to buy, and less that people are willing to sell, those parts are also going to keep going up. So while it is extremely cool, and I'm very lucky and fortunate to have an 0304 Cobra, being in that, you know, that cool group of a 2-year run of car, it's not always the best spot to be in, especially if you ever need to look at parts down the road, something that you want to buy, either just to have an extra of or something that you need. We're going to end up paying premium price for this stuff because we're already paying that now, and they're definitely not going to get cheaper over time. And I try to be really careful with this Cobra as far as doing any significant damage to it, because I don't want to be one of those people that has to try to hunt down a specific, you know, Cobra part only to end up paying through the roof for something that was lost due to my own stupidity or a small accident or something like that. So let me know in the comments what you think, as far as it is cool to have an 0304 Cobra, but at the same time there are drawbacks, and what other drawbacks are there that I may have missed as far as specific to this car as time goes on, where it's cool to have it, but then when you really need something, maybe it's not so cool after all. If this is your first video, a sub would be greatly appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, please throw it a like, and above all else, thanks for watching.